Awesome. So, welcome, Jordan. It has been a while since we last talked. So, I came to know you from, I believe it was, so I remember this story. You were out looking for an apartment, and I had seen you asking about 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms while I was storing another client. And one of the things I did was, this guy's looking for an apartment. He's a hot lead, didn't know who you were at the time, and I grabbed you as a client and I helped you lease out a place. We checked out a couple of places and you ended up finding like a little spot within the little neighborhood of West Campus. But through that process, I came to find out that you only had a 2-week time horizon to be renting, and that was because you were going to go to the Olympics right after. So that is how I came to meet you, and I'm super excited to have you on. So just welcome on.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is awesome. I love how everything's going about.
Yeah. The setup took me a little bit. Been trying to mess around with like some of the settings, but it's been kind of cool. So I remember whenever I first started talking to you, I had no idea who you were. I'm not like really into watching like the Olympics or like the Olympic sports or anything of the sort, any collegiate sports. So whenever I remember you started talking about this, we ended up connecting like on a little bit of a deeper level. I remember I had a girlfriend and I who watched your sport as you were competing. So that was kind of cool to watch.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you were getting blown up that day, right?
Yeah, no, it was staying busy. And I remember when you did first meet me for the first time, you actually gave me like a little slip paper with like your information on it.
Yeah.
And then like we just parted ways. I think we ended up seeing apartments that day, actually. We saw about three or four. And then I remember the apartment was like St. Pedro's, right? But yeah, man, no, it's been quite the journey. It has been a minute, but finally being able to reconnect has been awesome. And during the Olympic phase, like going into it, it was hectic. Having to do interviews and signings and just meeting people in general and all that sort of stuff was a lot. But you made it a lot easier for me being able to find an apartment at the time restraint that I had. So it was nice.
Yeah, and so I kind of just want to give a small overview of what we're going to be talking about. So today we're going to be talking about a little bit of early life. Like, I know we've had several news outlets talk about your early life and how you were adopted by a gay man. And then on top of that, I want to talk about like your life leading up to the Olympics, your college life, and then you are now considered a former Olympian. So what is life looking for you now? And just like some of the overall pathways that you're taking currently and the new career you're taking on. From my understanding, you're now a personal trainer.
Yeah. So after athletics and everything, I wanted to stay in the field of not sports, but athletics. I wanted to, improve people's physical outlook. Not only that, but their mental, overlook of themselves. I think that's big with improving yourself and growing as a person. So personal training was the way for me. That that kept me within some sort of athleticism and being able to share my experiences with what I've gotten through weightlifting, training, powerlifting, and just being an athlete in general. And so I've been jumping jobs here and there for certain personal training jobs. And right now, I found a good job with a good set of clienteles and a great team that I'm working with. So I'm excited to get started with that. And then I just bartend on the side. So we're staying busy, but it's been hectic.
Nice. So I kind of want to go into the sport of diving. I know for the most part, like all the divers that I see on TV are super jacked. What does it actually take? Is it more like cardiovascular health? Is it more like you have to be able to lift heavy weights, to be explosive? What does it entail? Like, what are the key features? Like,
Yeah, so I think you can kind of put it in the same realm as like gymnastics. So divers and gymnasts are all very fast twitch, which for fast twitch muscles, it doesn't they don't recuperate as quickly, and they break really fast. They tear really easily, but that means you have to do a lot of power movements, like you were saying, explosive movements, which are big, and then also keeping up your endurance, because when you're going into competitions with like other sports as well, for example, like running or tennis or anything like that, your endurance has to be at a somewhat elite level, and so keeping that up while also keeping on a good diet, maintaining low body fat, and then staying healthy, which is the biggest thing, not only physically but emotionally as well.
So was the low body fat part just like for aesthetics, or was it more for functionality? Because from my understanding, it is okay to have low body fat, but not anywhere that's like in the 5 to 8%. Like you want to maybe have like somewhere around like 12 to 14% to have just like some of the excess energy and a little bit more functionality with your build.
For sure. I think it just depends on the individual. For me, for example, I'm only 5'5". I'm not a very big person. So whenever I do implement a lot of cardio or, lower my calorie intake for dieting, I will lose fat really quickly. Like I tone down really fast. And so the reason it's good to be able to have a lower percentage of body fat is because it's all about, the look in the air, the grace, the beauty, but also the entrance of the water. If you have extra body fat on you, not that it's a bad thing, but it will help if you have less, making less splash, creating a smaller hole that you can go into and not hitting any sort of ridge into the water, creating that splash. So yeah, that's kind of the gist of how diving works in a sense.
Yeah, I remember whenever I was watching it, I was like, whoa, flips, and then the splash, and then like I was like, oh, all of these like flips look cool, but then like the crowd would be like, ooh, and I was like, that looks amazing. But what I didn't notice is that like sometimes the sport included like the splash and the entrance overall.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was like, I don't know why they're booing that. I was like,
yeah, that's something. I mean, the world of diving is such a small field that not everyone knows all the small particulars that it comes with. But I mean, for people that are in diving and some people that are knowledgeable on it, the entry, the rip, the splash is the biggest thing. That is what, makes diving. And that's where you get your highest scores from. Now, granted, you have to put in the form and the height and the speed, but, that all comes with practice and, just working with your coach.
Yeah. So, before we delve into the physical aspect, because I want to ask you so many questions, everything from like muscle tears to some of the injuries that come from it to like your training style, I want to go back to your early life. So there were a bunch of news articles that I remember coming out about your adoption from Cambodia.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep, exactly.
So you got adopted from Cambodia by a gay white man. As some might say.
Yes.
And I felt like that was out of the norm, especially at the time and even still now. But then you've seen to what great heights that parenting got you to, and then what great heights you've come as a person. So it's just been like a overall great story for both you and your adopted dad. So I kind of want to go through that. Well, like, when was like the moment you kind of realized like, oh snap, this isn't the most traditional family sense?
So it was quite the journey. My dad was in the Navy when he had the idea of adopting, being a gay man, not only gay, but he was single at the time. And from what I was told, adopting as a single parent is incredibly, incredibly tough. And not only that, but him being gay made it even harder on him. So my life at the start was tough, but I can't even imagine what he had to go through, his obstacles and everything like that. But once he put the idea in his mind that he wanted to grow a family, he wanted a kid, he wanted someone to raise for himself, he made that possible. So he ended up leaving the Navy and adopted me moving forward. He told me there was a ton of paperwork going into it. But I mean, learning about the differences between me and my dad were something that I learned years to come, because being with him for so long, I didn't see a difference. I didn't know that there was a difference. I just knew that there was love between us and that he was my father and that's someone I can look up to. And that's how it should be in this world, is that love should just be natural. It shouldn't be forced. There should always just be that natural connection. And so I had that. But then, going into like elementary school and up, I got asked questions like, where's your mom? Or why are you a different color than your dad? Because, my dad had to come to like parent teacher meetups and stuff, and I didn't have answers. I didn't know what to tell them. I didn't know how to go about, because I was so young. It was all a shock to me. And so then at that point I had to ask my dad when I got to the mature age to be able to. I think that was probably around 8 or 9, I would say. And so he sat me down for a while and explained the whole story of, how we became a family. And I started to realize how special it was to have that sort of connection with someone that you love so much. And so it was something amazing. My dad and I ended up writing a book on, our life story, and hopefully, helping those that have a different family lifestyle, and go through the, difficulties of bullying and stuff like that. Cause my dad and I are both, big on anti-bullying. And so we wrote this book to hopefully share a little bit about ourselves and find people that can connect with that. And so from that point on, I wanted to make myself out to be more of a role model and someone that people can look up to and have some sort of connection that when they feel out of sorts, they can go towards.
Yeah. So where's this book and what is it called?
So the book, I believe it's on Amazon actually, but you can look it up. It's called An Orphan No More, A True Story of a Boy. And it's about... actually, it's about a chicken and a little brown duckling. And so it's literally just our story enveloped into like some, farm animals. And then at the end of the story, it's funny because the chicken ends up telling the duckling a story about a white man adopting a boy. And that is, my life now. So it all comes full circle. It's really cool. I think it's something that a lot of people can connect to. I went to a bunch of schools when I was younger, reading this book out to a bunch of the students and stuff. And I think it reached a lot of people, so it was awesome. It was great.
Yeah. That was awesome. Is it like a chapter book or is it more like a kid's book?
It's a kid's book. So we've been meaning to start making the second book to it. I wanted to make it throughout our lives and the stepping process of how everything went about what we do nowadays. And but we've just been so caught up with work. My dad ended up moving to Florida, and I'm just busy with work as well. So it's just been put on hold for now.
Yeah. Well, so I'm assuming that scenario just brought some adversity with it. What scenarios do you recall just going through like childhood? Like I remember being in Eagle Pass where we were like 99% Mexican. People would always make fun of me for looking Asian. Yeah.
I mean, so I got confronted. This was even being an athlete as well. Actually, I got confronted a bunch about from the athletes, about just being different and how my dad likes other men and how it's just weird. Like it's gross and it's weird. And I got picked on. I even got picked on for being or for looking or potentially being gay, which it doesn't, to this day, I find it more as a compliment, that sort of outlook. I'm a straight man, so it's not like it bothers me. But then, they made it out to be such an insult that I didn't know how to take it besides being upset. So it was hard on me. And then, not wanting to be very social, I ended up going online, so homeschooling, middle school through high school, not only for sports, but purely for the fact that I just didn't want to be around people. I wanted to just stick to myself, get through the schooling, and get good at what I was good at, which was diving.
Yeah. And do you feel like, what are some of the principles that instilled you into becoming an Olympian? Because I remember hearing this quote from Alex Hormozy where he just basically says the people at the top of your field are not necessarily different from you, but they have something that they don't have something that you have, which is an off button. So it's constant grinding, constant thinking about it, and constantly like relying on certain principles to get you back into the game. What are some of the principles that your father instilled into you? It might have been like from the Navy or from his life experiences that just kept you going.
I think the biggest thing was big on just mindset. You know, I think at the start of my career, once I started getting decently good at sports, I did start growing an ego in a way, because then I started winning. I loved winning, and then at that point, I realized that being good at something is amazing. You can do that, but it's okay to be humble too. And so from that point on, I realized that I started performing better when I was able to support other people while also performing at my best. And so, dedicating my time to waking up early in the morning and, eating well, getting in the gym before anyone else, staying later than anyone else. You hear this all over YouTube's, TikToks, shorts and stuff, that everyone does this sort of stuff. But once you see the progress, once you see the improvement, that's when you know it works, and that's where putting in the effort and actually trying, just giving it a shot. If it doesn't work for you, it's not for you. But actually taking that step to do it and see if it works for you is where you grow as a person, and then you start seeing an improvement. And so that, for me, that was big, because even at the age of 10, I think I was 10 years old when I won my first nationals, I started to take, going to bed early serious. And that one little thing, as a 10-year-old, you want to stay up until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. playing games. But I wanted to go to bed and get ready for practice. I wanted to spend time with my team and my coach and learn new dives and be able to travel the world, which I was able to do at 12 years old, and not many people can say that. And I want people to experience that as well, because that's very special,
Yeah. So do you feel like a lot of the principles that your dad had were from the Navy and were from like this structured place that's kind of instilled these principles onto him? Or do you feel like it was different life experiences that he had experienced over the years that have transformed him as a person?
No, I think my dad's naturally like that. I think he is a naturally gifted person when it comes to anything he does. If he sets his mind to it, he can be good at that, which is why he is my hero. And everyone's parents should be their hero. But he can go into working with money or starting a business or building a house, in athletics. He can do it all. And it is incredible because he does it at such a high tier level that it's like he's done it for years. And so I've strived to be able to be that person, to be able to start something I set my mind to and just, be amazing at it. And, that just takes time. It's just, he's instilled that in himself, and I just need to work at it.
So now I kind of want to ask, like, what are some of the responses that you guys have to negative emotions? And you could do me and your dad. So I want to think about, like, what is the response to the negative emotion of, let's say, stress? Because stress is like the biggest one. Everyone's constantly like talking about it. There's Stoic philosophies. There's like spiritual philosophies. There's philosophies all over. What are some of the ways that you've noticed your dad kind of manage stress and think about stress, and how do those differ in a sense?
So I think my dad's one of those people that can just take that sort of almost like liability, like that stress level, just be able to handle it and also just do what he needs to do. I don't understand how he does it, because he doesn't have any sort of therapist or anything like that. I just know that for a fact, because I personally do. I need someone to talk to. Whenever I go through stress, I need to be able to communicate my thoughts, or even if it's just a friend like you, for example, like just being able to rant and let it out and just talk.
That's nice.
It's needed, and sometimes that leads to tears. Sometimes you'll cry, but you need that as a person. But my dad, he can just grind. He can just do it. He can just brush it off his shoulder, just move on with the day and start working. If there's like some sort of pushback, he knows that as long as he puts in a little bit more time, there's nothing to worry about that. For me, if I have a little bit of pushback, I stress out a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing now. I need to talk to someone and figure out my next step. So it really is incredible. I don't know how he does it. I've tried to just, let it slide, but it just doesn't work for me.
Yeah. So would you say your dad's like a little bit more stoic? Like he just like kind of takes it in, internalizes it, and is like, I'll come up with the solution.
Yes. That's a perfect way of putting him.
Yeah. Have you ever had him take like the Myers-Briggs test or Enneagram
No, I should though.
Yeah.
I should. Oh my gosh. I wish I could.
I have a feeling that he might be the eights, which is like, it's like bullet points. Like if you're communicating, it's like bullet points. You kind of don't want to talk around like the wish-washy, like the feelings of how this is gonna make me feel. I'm like, just giving me straight.
Exactly. Yeah. No, he's that to a T. And I wish that just came naturally for people. But everyone's, being human, everyone's just so different. And he's that special person that can just do that. So.
Yeah. I find those tests to be interesting because whenever I was working at a bank for a while, or a development bank, and they made the entire company take the test, and I remember I was like reading this stuff and I was like, this is like my strengths, and I'm like, oh, this is my weaknesses. And I was like, oh yeah, sometimes I do bulldoze people by accident because I'm like I just give it to them straight. Yeah. Sometimes people need a little bit of a buffer, and like it's something that I've like come to learn as well. But that is cool. So the reason I find it interesting is because you're performing at such a high level, but like a lot of the times whenever people think about like gay men, they think about like they think less masculine of them, and they think like they don't have like the same principles as me, they don't have like the same strength as me, they don't have like the same things as me, and I feel like it's becoming more outdated as we speak. But like that is still a philosophy in like certain people at times.
Yeah, it is.
So I really like to see like what in a sense like helps create some of the principles and helps create some of the overall like thought processes within you. Like in the sense of like. Yeah, like your relationship with your father. Like what are some of the more like things that kind of provided some of those like masculine traits that people wouldn't stereotypically think about?
I see. Yeah. So, I mean, I think like you're saying, there are stereotypes when it comes to like the gay community in any aspect, which is astonishing to me because they are some of the hardest working people out there, and going through, all those difficult things, and also, making a living for themselves. That's hard, going through that type of stress. And so for my dad, I mean, like I was saying, I think it bothered him as a younger person, as a younger adult, but as he grew up, I think realizing that this is life, you can't change how people look at you. You can't change what they think of you. You're just you. I think that's a big thing. And so he just realized he can only control what he can control, and that's his future. And so with that being said, I think that's a great way to go about it. Granted, I didn't have, any sort of backlash like he did. I was bullied for being different, but I mean, his is on a different level. And so being able to instill that in, my life and my training and how I go about life, was big. And I think that changed my accomplishments and was able to make me grow.
I want to show you one of my favorite quotes. I think it was by Alex Ramosi as well. Okay. But it was, if you had to create a human with certain traits, what would you put him through? And it's basically putting you in like the role of God for a second. Yeah. And it's like saying, like, imagine you want to develop someone with like patience. You would put them through a lot of mundane situations that help them develop patience. Same thing with anger. Like if you want someone who's like even, cool-tempered, you would put them through situations that might anger someone, that might anger like 99% of the population. So I think of those scenarios, and I'm like, wow, dude, your dad must have had like some situations to be like, I'm good. Yeah. This is like cake compared to like what I've been through. Or exactly. Even if it's like not cake, it's manageable. Yeah, exactly. I think a good way to put him, like in one word, is a leader. He is a leader. That's someone that is calm-headed. Doesn't get flustered really easily. Can just manage anything you throw at him, and he'll do it for you. He'll help you, and so he is the role model anyone would need. So it's cool. Awesome. That's so cool, man. Yeah. Okay, so now let's start talking about like your collegiate career. So you came to college, you were already getting a little bit of recognition for your diving career. What was that transition like to start going against now adults and people who are at their physical prime?
So funny enough, I was I was already competing with people at this level at like age 15. So actually going into college, I wasn't worried about the competitive side. I wasn't worried about that. I was more nervous about the academic. Being homeschooled middle school through high school, my, social aspect, I didn't talk to people. I didn't talk to teachers or anything. I didn't have to go up and give them a slip saying, hey, I'm going to miss all of next week because I'm traveling to TCU or something like that, So getting involved with the scheduling of school and college life was hard. I think I missed my first week of school because I didn't know where my classes were and didn't know how to find them. So I had to, call my counselor and everything. It was horrible. First week sucked. And not only that, but I really wasn't involved in any athletic, gatherings or anything. For us, we have like what's called Welcome Week, and like the swimmers and divers come together and we do a bunch of activities, but I didn't know anyone, so I didn't do it. I ended up doing it my sophomore year because that's when I started opening up and talking to people. But luckily enough, a bunch of them were very welcoming. They were all super nice to me, and I felt right at home from the start. Competition, and it for me, kind of similar to my dad, it's just another competition. I wasn't worried about anything. Obviously, everyone has nerves no matter what, but I have calm nerves. So going into competition, it's like I've dove against you, and we've battled. So let's do it again. It's one of those. Yeah. I don't have any bad blood for anyone. It's just fun competition.
Yeah. So now I kind of want to talk about the physical aspect because this is the part that really excites me.
Okay.
I liked how you compared it to gymnasts because gymnasts and wrestlers are, in my head, the most athletic people in this world because they have good explosiveness, great strength, great just power. In the short term, but I'm also I think I'm the slow twitch muscles instead of the fast twitch.
Yep.
So for me, it comes easier to be more so a marathon trainer or a long distance runner or like work out for longer.
Yeah.
But I do want to get more of that explosiveness, and I think just understanding the way that you might train for the competition of diving will help me understand that a little bit better. So what was some of the training that you remember going through? Was it like more calisthenics based, more powerlifting based, more almost like CrossFit style? What would you describe it as?
It really did vary. Our trainer wanted to make sure that we had the works when it come to training in general. So for example, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it would be weightlifting. So we'd like back squatting, we'd implement upper body, lower back, and then afterwards we do rehab. So we'd go up and do recovery, any sort of stem, icing, compression, stuff like that. Then on for example, on I think it was Tuesday, Thursday, it would be cardio day. So only in the gym for about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the intervals we were given that day. Run through cardio, you walk for 5 minutes at the end, and then you're done. Making sure that we're staying at, we're burning the calories that we need and staying at a low body fat percentage. We'll also keep the muscle from the Monday, Wednesday, Friday sessions. And then on either Saturday or Sunday, I don't quite remember, but one of those days, it would be circuit. So it'd be just all of it combined. It'd be power plus, HIIT training and stuff, doing around 7 or 8 exercises in a series for like 3 or 4 rounds nonstop with low break.
I hate circuit training.
Oh, it's dreadful. I hate it too. I'm physically not meant for it just because I'm small and stocky. Like I'm just, fast twitch. So like if you, like I was telling you the other day, I can't run a mile. Like if you told me to run a mile and without stopping, I can't do it. Now I could train for it, but I'm not going to. But that's pretty much the gist of the workouts. We made sure we did everything and covered everything. And our physique is what it was,
Yeah. I feel like circuit training is kind of correlated with CrossFit style training, My roommate's been trying to get me to do it for the longest time. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it, dude. Not going to be doing kips or anything like that.
Yeah. I'm not. I've never been a fan. I've trained CrossFit before when I was in club diving at Duke University in North Carolina. And dude, it wasn't for me. I didn't like the form that was given. I didn't like the pace, and I didn't like, the low rest or anything like that. I'm big on explosive and high intensity, but with a good amount of rest to where you start your next set that you can go again at explosive and high intensity, not where you die off, have to lower the reps and the weight, and now you're just kind of just pushing weight and not really improving. So yeah. I've coached group circuit training and stuff. It's awesome to watch, but then I get put in it and I don't look like a coach anymore. I look like, a scrawny little boy. So it just depends.
So do bullet points again. Like if you had to describe it as like powerlifting explosiveness, so it was one day.
Yeah. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday would be weightlifting and powerlifting, and like, I guess just weightlifting and powerlifting. So we'll do like Olympic lifts as well, like snatches, and stuff like that. Or we'll just do back squatting and deadlifting and stuff. So that would be the main bulk of muscle growth, and then Thursday would be our cardio. So we'd either be biking at high intensity, with just high duration, or we'd be doing low duration, high speed, just depending on whatever the coach wants.
Yeah. How do you focus on breathing? Because like I've been told different schools of thoughts. Like in yoga, there's different ways of breathing. In CrossFit, and especially in swimming, there's like different ways to breathe. I've always been a big proponent of just keeping everything through your nose. Kind of like if you had a tape, try to put it over your mouth.
Really?
And that helps me a lot with like running. Whenever I'm like in the marathon, I ran like a 9:07 pace, and I was getting pretty gassed like around like the 13th mile, and I started like breathing through my mouth, and I was like, all right, take one big breath in, and then start breathing again through your nose.
Yeah, I'm in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's just easier circulation for me. I've always just been that, and that's just how I coach too. Whenever I train people, and I'm also emphasizing like, be dramatic with like opening up your chest when you're breathing. Like open it up, let your lungs expand, open your rib cage, and let it expand so that you can also practice for higher endurance. That's big.
Yeah. That is also interesting because I've heard the same thing in like yoga where you open up your chest.
Yep.
But within weightlifting, someone says like breathe through your stomach to kind of create like a good way to think of it is like a Coca can. A Coke. A can of Coke.
There you go.
A can of Coke is kind of like if it's empty and it has like no compression, you're able to like squish it a lot easier. But once it has the liquid there, then you're able to like stand on it and it won't fall down. So it's like the same thing with like your spine and your overall. Like when I feel like that's really useful for like deadlifting and squatting.
Yep.
And sometimes bench press. But you say to open up through your chest.
It depends on the exercise you're doing. So if we're talking about cardio, it's good. So when you're on your rest or you're slowing your pace, open up, let yourself breathe, let yourself get the air that you need, circulation through the blood and everything, that's important. Now, when you're going into weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, et cetera, where you're doing compound movements, any sort of stuff like that, you want to be able to engage and breathe through your lower abdominal. That's just the biggest thing, because not only that, it's stabilizing your back, which, for any sort of compound movement, you need your core engaged.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that, and then they come back the next day and they're aching like crazy in their lower back or, some sort of pain in their legs. But you nailed it right on the head. This is big when you're lifting weights or you have weights on you. So as long as you have that down, you can lift some heavy stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. There's like this book. I think it's called Breathe. One of my old roommates, he was always talking to me about this. He's like, talk to me about your breath. Like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And we'd have like different discussions. And I realized that there's like a lot of noise. But you said for weightlifting, it's good to breathe through your stomach, and then for opening your chest, what would you say that's more useful for
more like cardio, or like if you're doing like fast-paced circuit training, that's good.
Okay, that's cool. All right, so now we've kind of gone through that, and you were talking about being really low in body fat at the time. What is, do you know, like, the lowest that you got?
I think the lowest I got was around 7 or 8%.
Dang.
I'll have to show you a picture later and show you like the amount of fat. I might have even been lower at this point, but from what I remember when I did my tests, I think I was around like, you know, the single digit percentage. Now, keeping in mind, if you're doing like a long competition, that's probably not the best, because in some competitions I would get lightheaded, you know, moving too fast or getting up too quickly. So that means I'd have to like pound some electrolytes or like be eating a protein bar mid competition, which isn't I like competing hungry. You know, I like being empty stomach competing, but
Tested.
Exactly. Sometimes I have to, I even work out like that sometimes if I'm desperate, but, yeah, I mean, lower percentage for me was the best, and it made me feel good, and it made me compete good because I felt good. So
yeah. I always have like this thought of like maintaining like a lean physique, but also having some stores within me for just functionality reason, because like my sport is like MMA, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. And I remember there was like an analysis done on what body types are the best, and it's like something that's like square instead of like triangle shaped.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that.
Yeah, and it's because you're able to like pivot. You're able to control more of your weight. You're a little bit more centered. You're a little bit more balanced. But for someone like you to enter, it makes it. Do you see like the Dorito shape being like more useful?
So it's not that it's more useful, but the training that people are put in our sport, that's the outcome of your body. You know, if you're going on a really strict diet where you're trying to stay toned and lean, your sides are gonna shrink in. It's natural. You know, your stomach's gonna get smaller too, because you're just gonna be eating less calories. But the more you eat, the more this is gonna widen out, and you're gonna go into that rectangle shape that you're talking about. And it really just depends, like you're saying, it depends on the sport. Like your sport, it fits it for sure. But then you come into mine, and a lot of coaches would prefer more of a Dorito shape, more of a diamond, on the torso, while keeping huge quads, decently flexible shoulder, upper body. Like for divers, our legs were the strongest. Our arms looked like twigs, but they were strong enough to hold at least our weight, So I couldn't bench a lot back in college, but I could squat a lot. So it just varied.
Yeah, I remember. What was like? I remember you were putting up quite the numbers. Do you remember like the numbers that you were putting up like around college? I've worked out with Jordan a couple times, but I was never able to keep up.
I think for back squatting, I got into like the 400s, like the low 400s for like 1 or 2 reps.
Ooh, that's insane.
But granted, like that's just lifting weight, like it doesn't transfer over to diving. It just means, oh, well, you're improved. You're stronger now. That just shows you're stronger. But yeah, that was probably my peak. Right now, I'm consistently like 315 for like 6 or 8 reps. And I'm just keeping like that. My bench has gone up too, but I still cannot hit 225 because, first off, I don't know why. It's just a self thing, but I don't like asking random people to spot me. And when I do train, I train with like one of my friends. Her name's Remy, and she's not going to save me. Yeah. If it falls, it's not coming back up. So that's just one of those things I just have to kind of accept. And if I'm feeling good, I'll try to push 225. But
you know what? There's this funny story. So I couldn't hit 225 for the longest time either, and I was like, I could hit what's like 205 for 3.
Yeah.
So I was like, I should be able to hit 225. Like it makes sense. I think it's like a mental block. So I would ask like people to spot me, and then like I remember the first time I was like, I couldn't get it. They helped me out. I was like, damn. All right, next time. Then the next time I was like, all right, I've been eating a lot of carbs, I have a bunch of energy stored up. I go, I'm halfway, and I'm like, let's go. And then some dude, my spotter, he's like, all right, and then picks it up, and I was like, no.
Wait, didn't you post a video about this?
Yes,
I'm pretty sure you posted. I think I saw it.
I was so upset, dude.
Yeah.
He like basically stripped it from me. And then I was like, damn, dude. So then I asked like one of my friends, and then I was like, hey, dude, let me die. I was like, let me, like, if you see it fall me, wait like a good 5 seconds and then pick it up. And then he was like, all right. So, and I was like halfway there, and I was like, oh, I'm pushing through. And he picked it up, and I was like, my goodness, the third time.
It's a sign.
So then like I posted that video of like the spotters stealing it from me. Mm-hmm. And then and then one of my friends texted me. He's like, hey dude, I have one suggestion, but it's risky. And I was like, what's up? He's like, you won't have this issue. There's no spotters. So I was like, okay. And like I was like so scared. I was like, all right. I was like thinking of my I wasn't really thinking of my exit plan, but I was like, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like I'll just be like, help.
Yeah, beg for it.
Yeah, and I just picked it up, and I was like, you either have to be embarrassed and call someone, or you put up the weight.
Yeah, honestly, no, that's impressive. That's also hilarious that you had to go through something like that. I whenever I do have anyone spot me, I actually am very verbal in the middle of this. Like I'll talk.
Really,
so like,
I can't, dude. You have to like keep the compression.
If I'm back squatting and like I'm struggling on it, and I see, because normally I do it in front of a mirror. I like watching myself, make sure my form's on, and I see them like coming underneath and trying to like wrap their arms under. I'll be like, I got it. Hold on, give me a second, and I'll be able to talk. I don't know how I'm able to do it, but I'm able to still kind of compose myself and tell them to back off a little bit. But sometimes I'll get a little angry with it. I'm like, no, what was there? But no, I've been there. That's funny, dude.
Yeah. So. From my understanding, I know we were talking about getting potential leads, and one of the things that I had mentioned to you about getting the leads was creating an Olympic diet plan. So like some of the foods that you were eating and putting a basic like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday type of deal for most people. And then that being your lead generation to get emails, contact information, and other I guess like other ways to contact them, so we could get like more clients for your business. So what I kind of wanted to do is talk about that in visual format, and then you create the like PDF format that someone could download, have it on their phone, easy to make. Yeah. So I kind of want you to talk me through what was your diet like, and then was there any easy meals? Like for me, I'm a man of like simplicity. I could like throw down in the kitchen, make it like super complex, but then that takes like 2 hours out of my day. Yeah, I'm like more of a 15-minute like ground beef really quick. Yeah, put the rice cooker on, and then do my work type of guy.
For sure. So for me, I mean, all my stuff was pretty simple. I'm not the biggest cook. I think the most complicated thing I've made is either chicken noodle soup or ratatouille. Which was horrible. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I actually figure.
It was not the best. But for the most part, my strictest meal plan, and this was all the way through college, I was stuck on this unless I like for some reason like needed some sort of cheat day, which was here and there. Like I had days where I would. I'm not gonna lie about that. But so Monday, Wednesday, Friday was white meat. So it was normally 2 chicken breasts, and then I'd have a bowl of salad. Some sort of grains. I was either salad, or I normally stuck with just steamed broccoli, or if like, I guess the dining hall that we had, it was normally just raw broccoli, which was horrible. It was disgusting. But I normally have that. I try not to eat it with ranch because the ingredients in ranch is just ridiculously, it's so bad. So I try to keep away from any sort of sauces.
Ranch is like 500 calories like per serve, per like average serving. It's insane.
It's so bad, and people are like, but it tastes so good. I'm like, well, you tell me that in a year, and we'll figure it out. But so that was for my greens. Either like lettuce with some carrots or whatever, tomatoes, or broccoli. And then I would go into 2 cups of rice. I only stuck with rice normally.
White rice, black rice,
jasmine white.
Black rice. I'm thinking about beans.
And that was my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I had that for lunch and dinner, and then for breakfast I would just have like a cup of yogurt with some fruit, honey, and some like grains inside.
Do you have any specific yogurt brand you like using?
Ooh, I don't think I have a specific. I just do just a generic Greek vanilla yogurt. I don't remember the brand that I use. I always have one, but I don't remember the name of it.
Can you describe like the
It
the packaging?
It's so sometimes they come in like 4 packages. It's like it's almost comes in like a white bowl, and you can peel the top off. Charades. We're playing charades here.
I think I know which one. Does it sometimes have like a purple undertone?
What?
Does it have does it have purple in the packaging?
I mean, if it has like blueberry in it.
Like oh, I'm not sure then.
I'll have to send you a picture later.
Okay.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you. But that was normally my breakfast, was just like a yogurt little quick meal, because I didn't like breakfast too much. Now this was like at the start of college. When I started getting into breakfast, I would eat around I think 6 eggs with 2 egg yolks. So it would be 6 egg whites with 2 egg yolks, and that was it for breakfast. But the white meat would stay the same. So then it would be Tuesday and Thursday were my fish days. So I would either do cod, or I'd do steelhead trout, which I love steelhead trout. Recommend actually go find like a fish market, get steelhead trout. It's going to be a lot juicier and more flavorful than actual salmon. Now, if you want salmon, just do it. Salmon's always great. It has great fat in it. Same thing as steelhead. But those were the 3. So it was salmon, steelhead trout, or cod. I stuck with those fish. It just depended. I just switched back and forth so I didn't get burnt out. And then the veggies and rice would stay the same. Making sure that I had a high, dense amount of protein, though. So the protein would outweigh normally the veggies. And the carbs would probably be around the same, but it'd outweigh the veggies for sure. And then my Saturday would be red meat. So I only ate red meat normally one time out of the week, but it would be for lunch and dinner. And so the reason I did this is because what I've learned throughout my career is that red meat, and this is a normal thing, red meat makes you feel bloated. And not only that, it puts you in like a food coma, so you don't want to perform. Saturdays, we only had morning practices. So after I trained, I was able to eat red meat, and then I'd have a Sunday off and able to just, be able to sustain from that point on. Getting all the nutrients and all the iron that I needed from the red meat, keeping the veggies and the carbs the same. The breakfast is the same. And then Sunday's my cheat day. So I just eat whatever I'm hungry for. I just go for it. Now, granted, this is something that is incredibly, incredibly hard to do.
Quick question.
Yes.
In competition, whenever you were nearing it, did you skip out on any cheat days? Like, were you just like, I can't do the cheat day this week?
No.
You still had the cheat day?
Yeah.
So talk me through that cheat day. What does that look like? Is it like ice cream cookies? Because like sometimes I'll have some cheat days too.
I got you. I would, if sometimes I'd get like pizza, or I'd go out and get ramen or pho, something that's not like the healthiest of carbs. Like pasta is not a good carb if you're trying to diet, unless you get some sort of like vegan pasta or something. But
unless you're trying to like bulk up.
Yeah, if you're trying to bulk. I was never really in a bulking phase. I've since I grew muscle, but I loved my physique as it was. So it was sustaining, it was staying there. And so when I had my cheat days, I mean, it was whatever, because when I went in through the week, how much bad food I put in didn't outweigh how much work I put in. So it just completely I was able to work out, cancel it all out, eat healthy, and then be able to do it again. And then going into competition, like you were saying, if I were to change my diet, it would then fluctuate how I feel. So then if I got rid of the cheat day, then it would kind of mess me up. Now, it also just depends too. So if I had a competition on a Sunday, obviously I'm not going to eat a pizza, right? But I can go get like Cobble Bobs or something, something that's decently healthy but tastes really good. And it just depends. But normally I would just keep my schedule for dieting the same, and it's just so good. Yeah. In my opinion, I think it beats Chipotle. Yeah.
Obviously. I make friends with the Mexican ladies behind there. Yeah.
I know you do. I know you do.
And like every now and then, like I'll talk to them in Spanish. I'm like, how are you?
Yeah.
And like I like playing this game. I'm like, you choose my meal for today. And they'll be like,
side eye.
Yeah, they always like give me like a little bit extra because I'm like a little nicer than everyone else. A quick combo. So it's kind of funny.
That is awesome.
But okay, so that's like what your diet looks like, and I'm assuming we're gonna have a PDF format for it soon by the time this episode comes out.
Hopefully I'll start getting to work on that. Once I get my whole job situated and stuff, I'll figure that stuff out. A lot on the plate, a lot going on, so I'm excited to get it all done.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see that. I'll send you some ones that I'll send you some examples of the ones that I got. There's this one that Alex Hormozy did because he was known as the gym launch dude or like the gym bro, but he's also like very big into like personal finance, and growing business, entrepreneurship. But one of the things he did was that he released like his cookbook and like his stuff was putrid. I'm not gonna lie. It was very like processed foods, but like high in protein. So I wouldn't say all of them are processed foods.
So like canned SpaghettiOs?
Chili beans. Like
okay.
So like
oh my gosh, the amount of sodium though.
Yeah. Yeah, so like he's like jacked, but I'm pretty sure if you asked him to like run, he probably wouldn't like do too well in running.
That sounds like me, but okay.
But I was I downloaded this because like he did have some like good overall meals. Like one of them that he got me back into was canned tuna, and I used to eat canned tuna whenever I was a kid, but I kind of stopped because everyone was like, ew, tuna, and I kind of like fell into it, but then I was like, I kind of don't hate it. Like, it tastes good. And there's like a way to make it like keep it low calorie, because sometimes people throw mayo, but then like mayo's high in calories. And are you very diligent on tracking your calories, or?
So for the most part, so how I went through it through college, and I just was able to keep it at that, diet, was because when I was in college, I had a nutritionist. So we had people doing it for us. So I didn't have to count the calories then. They did it for me. And so then that's how I found out a plan that worked out for me, and I kept me at a high level of energy. And then to this day, I actually use my fitness, what is that app?
MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, so I use that as like a rough draft. I think it's a good way to just get ingredients in there so you can see what the numbers will look like. Now, if you're trying to go into like macros and all that sort of stuff, go for it. It is a lot of work though to keep count. So if you end up doing it, I recommend getting like a little handbook that you can write in and jot it down.
Yeah. So what Alex Hormozy talked about was his thing was just front loading all of his protein. Okay. So whenever you would go to Chipotle, he'd do you do this trick, which was half chicken, half steak, and then once they poured it in, you're like, actually, can I double it? And they would give you a full scoop of chicken and a full scoop of steak.
Okay.
And then that was like roughly 100 grams.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I did it for a while, and like I'd say it like did bulk me up, but then he was like, all right, here's what I'm going to teach you to do. Like, I'm going to teach you to like front load all the calories or front load all the protein. And then I did that for a while. Like he had like some good recommendations on like what are products to like help front load. So canned tuna is like a really good one. Very low. Egg whites. There's this Premier protein cereal.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have it here.
Yeah.
And then what's the other one? Protein powder. It's like a pretty easy one.
Yeah, that's generic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he would just say like, yeah, would I? Oh, the one that I'm remembering, yogurt.
Yeah.
And those were all like good ways to just like get your calories or your macros in. Your macro being protein in, and then from there he was like, yeah, and then I would pig out at night. I would just eat cookies and all this stuff.
Is this a big guy? Is he a big guy?
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Like big guy in the sense of like just a big guy, or is he like strong? Like you could see vascularity from him.
You could see vascularity. He's also on roids though, I will say. But
okay.
Hold on. But like he did post like pictures like before he did it.
Okay.
Before he started like T.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? He talked about that, and he's like, I know it may not be the healthiest, but this is like what's helped me remain jacked. But what I've been kind of going off of like now with my diet is like doing more like whole foods, like not using as much sodium, because like you do hit those food comas like you were talking about with like red meat. you don't feel energized, and like you want food that helps fuel you, but is also like good.
Yes.
And I feel like that is like, I feel like a lot of people get very weird with like their food and like how it is, especially when it comes to like this day and age where like body dysmorphia is like a very big thing.
Yes.
And like people misunderstanding what they're eating. Like, I know this guy that I follow. I just know his like initials are like TNF, fitness or something like that.
Okay.
But he talks about one of the things that people have an issue with is grossly misrepresenting the amount of calories you're actually eating. So people either think they're eating way below what they actually are, or way above what they actually are.
Got it.
And I had this like with both cases scenario. I had this scenario both times with a couple of friends where we were like, "Hey, Gabe, I saw that you gained like 40 pounds in a year." And my skinny friend was like, "Hey, dude, how do I gain this weight? I'm eating 3,000 calories." I'm like, "I could guarantee you, you're not.
Yeah.
You may be eating 3,000 calories once out of the week, but you're not eating it consistently." And then we tracked it for like a month. He started understanding the foods that he was eating. And then he was like, bam, I'm starting to get it now. I'm starting to finally put on some weight.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand what foods actually are high in calorie, low in calorie. And then same thing with like someone leaning out.
Yeah.
But you're kind of expecting to go through that, right? Like with your clients and the future of your business.
Yeah, fully intend to be able to like break it down into steps where it's manageably understandable for any sort of clients, whether you have experience in the gym or whether you don't in nutrition or anything. So I think that is one of the biggest things that we want to be able to express to people is that you're going to be able to do this. So let me show you how. And then we'll lay it out. You'll have the plan for whatever package you end up getting with us. And you're good to go. You just have to look it up and you'll see it. And if you want to track it yourself, you can, but we'll have the full ingredients and, grams or anything on there that you'll need. And you'll know what you're putting in your body.
Yeah. And I think like just emphasizing why someone would get a coach. I think most people really could find a lot of the information online, but it's almost like I think a coach in a sense is already experienced, especially a good one, and they kind of help cut back that time, and then from there they help you make it more sustainable.
Yes,
for the most part. So that is I feel like I've always lived in like the college guy mentality, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna skimp, but I'm gonna also like educate myself a lot so I could learn how to like be healthy and like produce good results. But I also I kind of see coaching as like mentorship in a sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's pretty much it. I mean, you're trying not to do the work for them, but you want to guide them in the right direction. You want to make sure that they have the foundation that they need for success. And so allowing them to do the work and see the improvement and the progress that they have within however long they're working with you that's big. And after college, after losing a trainer, for me, not that I wasn't able to get into the gym and work out, but it was hard to get into the gym and work out and motivate myself unless you had someone there next to you, hey, let's do this. Or if you had someone on the phone coaching you, watching you, keeping you, involved in the workout and moving and taking the breaks that you need. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, we just like delve into like some of the intricacies that like can improve like your overall fitness journey. Like we just talked about breathing. Yeah. Breathing is like a aspect that I feel is so under talked about. Like now, with especially that new product, the mouth tape or the hostage tape.
Yeah.
That's like it started gaining like a lot of traction. We're starting to see a lot of studies about like how breathing through your nose affects the way you overall live.
Yeah.
You see like facial structures change from it. Pretty insane stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, I feel like it is really intriguing, and health is like one of the things that I really hope to promote. But I always try to do it in like a sustainable way, because I feel like I think about my parents whenever I'm thinking about like health, and I'm like, my parents are an Eagle Pass food desert. They don't have access to the same foods that we might have here in Austin, Texas. it's like their stuff's a lot more processed, and they have to be specifically looking for organic food. Like to find it. As opposed to like an HEB here in Austin, like everything you find here is like healthy.
Yeah.
And my little sisters, they were like, dude, you've gotten like lean, but I can't seem to get it. I'm like, yeah, dude, it's because for you, you're gonna have to put in like twice the work.
Yeah.
Because like it's just easier for me to find here.
Yeah, and it also just depends on the body you have. You know, for men, they can gain muscle just a lot quicker. It's just natural. It's genetics. That's normal. And so, depending on the person, you know, hopefully, if you have the right trainer, you can get the change that you need.
Yeah. So, what separates you other than like being an Olympian from other trainers?
I think the amount of connection that I can have per client, I think that's big for me, and including with what I'm trying to set up with this whole business stuff that's going on in the hopefully starts up in a few months, is the personability and being able to connect with people, and having that connection allows for growth, because then they want to train with you, they want to be able to work out with you, and they see that you're willing to invest your time for them, and that goes for any sort of business as well. Like, I think that's big for restaurant industry, you know, any sort of financial business you have, is being able to be personable, because you want that. You want someone that you can talk to.
Yeah,
know.
I mean, Chick-fil-A is like memed on for just being very personable.
Yeah, they are.
Like how can I help you?
But it is different, you know, when you go up to like a cashier, and it just doesn't seem welcoming. Besides, someone else is like, oh, how you doing today? You know, what can I get you? Yeah, it changes you, even if it's a small amount. That small amount does a lot.
Yeah, and I remember reading The 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss, and Tim Ferriss also had like a situation where he's an interesting guy. Human lab rat is what some people would call him.
Okay.
But he was talking about minimizing the amount of time in the gym, because a lot of the people are just not as sustainable. Do you want to work more so with athletes that are looking to get to the top tier with you, or just like average common day people?
I want to work with the whole field. I do not have a preference. I like being able to work with a variety of different clients, whether they have injuries, whether they're elderly, younger. It just depends. The only reason for that is because it doesn't matter. My job stays the same. You know, I get to train a wonderful person, and hopefully inspire them to keep going at it, because that's the whole purpose, is to, you know, inspire them to do that. So it doesn't matter. I know for athletes, they already pretty much have their goals set for themselves, and they know what they're shooting for. But being able to do that for someone that doesn't go to the gym is awesome. Okay, well, let's lose 20 pounds. You know, that's big. That's hard to do. So let's do it. Let's crank down and find out what works for you. Let's get the diet done. Let's get the program done, and we're all set. You know, so.
Yeah. I've been thinking about like meal plans and like different ways. I've been thinking about like what you've been saying a lot, because we met before this, and we were kind of like just brainstorming some of the ideas for the consulting business. So I'm really excited to see what you're going to be creating over the next few weeks. I want to see the meal plans.
Yeah.
I want to see the different, like, I know one thing that Alex Ramosi did too was a cheat sheet for going out, like a going out guide.
Okay. Yeah.
He did like, if you're going to go out, and if you're going to like, I want you to be sustainable with this, and just not be afraid to look at your phone the next day. Like, hey, did you eat this? Did you not eat this? Yeah. And I want you to be like, okay, if I am going to go out, and if I am going to be eating like maybe not the healthiest food, what is a way that I could do this sustainably? What should I order? What should I think about? What should I do this? So he had like a going out guide, and I was like, oh, I should bring that up to Jordan. So I'm telling you now.
That's pretty funny, and then also it's clever too. It's smart, because it keeps you accountable.
Yeah.
You know, when I was training, when I was just doing this just for fun, I wasn't for pay for anything. I was just training some friends. Whenever they had any sort of meals or any sort of eating, I had them just send me a picture of what they're eating. You know, show me it. Because then if you're showing me that you have pizza in front of you, you know you're in the wrong. You know you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? And now you have to tell me why you're doing it. Almost not like parenting them, but you know, showing them that you can do this. You know, look at what you're eating and throw that away and let's change it up a little bit. You know, it's not hard to throw like some chicken in a pan and cook it up.
Yeah, there's this girl on Instagram that I follow called Fit Foodie.
Okay.
And she is she has like some pretty interesting diets that like she makes ice creams, like all the unhealthy food, cookies, but she makes them like super high in calories and lower in super high in protein, lower in calories. Yeah. And I always find it really, really interesting to see things like that. Like people making like sorbets out of like proteins.
Yeah.
And
it's like a super common thing nowadays. I know I have a buddy that has been that's his main form of content is showing what he eats, and you know he'll be making like pad thai, but the healthy pad thai, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So that's been a common thing. I'm not a cook, so I cannot do that. If I tried, I just won't do it, but I think it's awesome.
I think it is awesome. I'm just looking for more like one of the things I remember Hormozy saying was dude, I'm quoting him so much. I've listened to his like podcast so much. That's probably why. But he's like, we're simple creatures. Like we're creatures of patterns, so we probably only eat the same 10 meals like throughout our like certain periods of our lifetime. So if we just like focus on those 10 meals and have 10 new meals, it just simplifies it, it complicates it less, and it allows us to live a little bit more sustainably within our diets, within our health, within like the things that make us fat. Yeah, I feel like we could go into a lot more into this, but I kind of want to leave that up to you and up to like the content that I'm assuming you're gonna start creating with like healthy foods and like the fish recommendations. I love to see some shorts on those.
For sure, yeah.
I pay attention to them.
I'm excited. I'm pumped to get. I also am looking to try to get a similar camera. We were talking about that recently because I want to be able to make content and some just quick videos that people can just look at and get some hints from, or just some tips, and then be able to have like you're saying, a PDF, an outline, you know, of what they can go about instead of having to like think about it or look it up themselves. It's right there for you. Yeah. You know, that's easy.
Yeah. You know what? Recently I've been like having like small little like mental disputes about the camera and the usefulness of it. Okay. Because I grew my TikTok to 16,000 through my phone and my phone alone. Yeah. But I did end up buying a camera for the podcast. So what I've figured out is that for anything longer than 5 minutes, a camera is good. Yeah. For everything else, you just shorts. You think it like a CapCut and just like your iPhone, dude.
Fair enough. No, honestly, yeah.
But if you do create a YouTube channel, I think a camera would be so useful.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a future thing. I got to figure out. There's so much stuff I got to figure out. Yeah. So there's a lot on the plate right now.
Yeah. I think social media is like one of the things that it's like it can be intimidating since there's like so much to it, but. Same thing with like camera equipment. I just got into like the camera equipment, and dude, I've been spending willy-nilly on this stuff. It's been horrible. I could see why I could kind of see why photographers charge so much, but at the same time I can't.
Like, maybe granted, it, you know, for what some photographers are shooting, you know that sort of realm, they have a lot going on for them. Yeah, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, dude. I took someone's graduation photos, and they came out nice, and I was like, dude, I beat out like half of the West Campus photographers, like with this like simple camera, like no lenses, no like editing, like. But I don't know. It's another thing.
Oh well, it's all good.
But okay, so one of my questions is a to-do list. And then what do you want someone to learn from you? And then where can we find you? So first, let's do a to-do list. If we were to summarize, like, what are the things that someone should do from this episode? What are the things that you would recommend?
First off, the biggest thing, I would probably just reach out to a professional. I mean, I am one. But like if you just need somewhere to start, I would start off with a small chart of what you're eating. Write out, even if it's just like the basics, like spend a week, write out what you're eating and look at your habits. Dieting is a good place to start. So you don't have to get in the gym and like stress yourself out, but like seeing what you're eating and just change it. Small paces at a time. Okay, well, if I'm eating six slices of pizza, I think I can change that down to 4 slices, 3 slices. Or can I eat, if you're trying to intake more protein, instead of
Go for it.
Oh no, sorry. Instead of 1 chicken breast, you can do 2 chicken breasts, or 1.5 chicken breasts. That helps.
I had this idea come up on my feed. Some girl, she called it volumizing.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the foods that are very high in volume but low in calories.
Mm-hmm.
So like, as much as I hate lettuce is one.
Yeah.
Greens, vegetables, berries are great. They're nature's candy and they're healthy.
I love berries.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. I'm craving it now.
And then what's like another one? I'd say oats are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty normal.
And rice is like kind of up there, but it's very filling. Like,
yes.
So I just thought about that while you were saying it. So you're saying, reach out to you for new clients, and then second would be just track what you're eating.
Yeah.
But I would add to that, if you want to take it a step further, I'd say track your calories and track your macros with that. I think getting a good understanding of it is pretty good.
Exactly. And granted, whether you're talking to me or any sort of trainer, if you really feel uncomfortable with like reaching out to someone, if you just look up, on My Fitness, Pal, is that it?
Yeah, My Fitness Pal.
It does the work. You just type in the food for you and it does the work for you. It's super easy. And I think a big benefit, and I've said this a few times on this podcast, is do jot it down. And don't do it on your phone. I would jot it down on a piece of paper, be able to write it out. It is helpful. It's a good habit, including when you're going into the gym and you're writing down your own plan. I went up in back squat by 10 pounds, write it out. Be able to see that. It's awesome. And it keeps you in the zone. It keeps you in your own little world with that little notebook. While you're on your phone, there's other stuff on there.
Yeah.
Keep it in your world.
I think of like if you do have it on your phone, what I do is I have a widget for it. So
you are such a like electronic person for that type of stuff though.
Yeah, like all my books, they're on the Books app. All my I have my journal entries on my, if you're looking at YouTube, you could see my actual journal entries. Oh, I only have it on YouTube. I forgot that this podcast isn't on Spotify yet. Same thing with like my screen time, and then same thing with like my running and macros and my overall calendar. So those are all like big widgets for me, just so it can be top of mind.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I forgot my journal at home. Same thing with like workouts. Like, I'll be like, I forgot my journal at home. Does that mean I can't do? Like my brain will come up with like little excuses, but if it's all conveniently on my phone, then
that's fair.
All right. So what is something else you would do? We have tracking and jotting down, tracking, reach out to you. What else?
Honestly, I would, another good thing is to do like a, BMI test, if it's affordable to you, if you can do something like that, do some sort of blood testing or, testing your body fat percentage and just seeing where you sit right now, because that's a good, baseline to go off of, almost like taking a progress photo,
The reason I'm laughing is because, I've been getting like ads for like blood tests, and like I remember listening to like a Huberman episode too, and he's like, yeah, you should get your blood tests, like your lipids tests. I wrote them all down, but I was like, yeah, man, I've always been curious like what my T is. Yeah. So I was like, screw this. Went to go visit family, and I was like, Mexico's right there. It costs $50 as opposed to like 200 over here. Yeah. And they probably overcharged me at that because they like heard my accent.
They do. Yeah. No, it's It's definitely pricey, but if you're really dedicated into wanting to go into the working out field or trying to have some goal towards improving your body in some way, I think it really is a good way to just see it on paper. Okay, well, this is where I'm at, you know?
One of the things that has been helping me to get an estimate, not necessarily the most accurate. For accuracy, we probably want I forgot what that body scan is. It's like the one where they put you on like a weight machine. You have like both your arms, and it's like
I'm blanking.
It's like one of the most accurate like.
I cannot. It's right there. I can't think of it though.
It'll come to us.
Yeah.
It'll come to us.
I'm gonna end up texting you on the way home.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
If this becomes a clip, I'll put in like the captions or something. But some companies, especially like supplement companies, if you search them up, they'll have like free. Actually, I could probably find it right now, because I remember there's this company in Austin called 5 Star Fitness, I believe, and they do the free scans. Fitness free scans. Let's find it. Free in-body scan. Oh no, there's like another one. Actually, it might be called an in-body scan. Have you ever heard of in-body scan?
It sounds familiar, but I don't want to say yes and then be wrong.
Body fat percentage. Yeah, me neither. But anyways, like some supplement companies around do that, and if not, the weight scale that I use, it's like called Electricity. I've like promoted it a couple times on like TikTok because TikTok has like TikTok Shop now.
Yep.
And no,
did it die?
The camera died. All right, so I guess it's only audio from now. No, it didn't die. It overheated.
Oh, okay.
But so that's that, and then what else? So it gives you like a good estimate of like body fat percentage. It gives you a good estimate of like water retention. It has like all this stuff. It has like way too many things to count that I could say, but over like 20 different things. It's not the most accurate, but it's a good estimate of like where you're going.
Yeah, a good starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it costs like $14 for mine.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's actually really good.
Yeah. And yeah, so we have that. Do you have any resources that you recommend people check out?
Oh, if anything, I'll send you them after the podcast. Have like a full list of everything that I personally use and what like some of like, because I have some mentors that I talk to currently that they'll use as well. I think that'll be a little bit easier instead of me trying to remember everything.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll try to put it in like a description. Maybe we'll do a Google Doc here.
For sure. That's easy for me.
And then like just like post it in the description of YouTube. And any last words you have to say?
Other than that, no. But hopefully you guys can look forward to my upcoming business. It's going to be called Windle Fitness. It's going to be a online programming site where you can go on, purchase a package and do any sort of add-ons that you want, whether that's live video coaching, video coaching reviewing you can do. We're going to have nutrition on there like we were just stating. A whole bunch of stuff's going to be there. And we're also going to implement a 1-week package for free so you guys can try it out, see if this is a fit for you. Have any sort of in-person or, video calls with your coaches to determine whether or not this works out. So look forward to that. It's going to be coming up hopefully in a few months. I'll try to get some stuff out a little bit earlier with some content. I'll give Gabe, some layouts with nutrition advice, whole PDF and everything. So that's about all I have for you, though.
Yeah, chances are I'm going to be in Brazil editing this. So you still have some time.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. I need time.
So from there, all right, so I'm just going to reiterate the to-do list, and then we're going to ask the question of, okay, so the to-do list is reach out to you. Where can people find you? anywhere. Email, Instagram.
Oh, yeah. You can go to windlefitness@yahoo.com.
What about your
and then
Instagram?
You can DM me on Instagram at Jordan Pisai Windle, which Pisai is spelled PISEYWINDLE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can just search him up, Jordan Windle, on Instagram. He has quite a bit of following, so you could probably find him pretty easily.
Yeah, hopefully will be the first one to just pop up.
Yeah. All right, so then from there, we're going to do the second to-do list, which is just jot down your meals, look at your habits, and then third is track your meals and understand the habits that come from that. And then, what was the last thing? Dang, we're both blanking.
Oh, dude, we've talked about so much.
Yeah, you could go back 30 seconds. And that's it. So just thank you so much for coming on, Jordan. I really appreciate you and the conversations we've had. I feel like this was pretty insightful. We delve into different philosophies and eating habits, which I feel is the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. We could probably just like shoot the S word. I was about to cuss. But we could probably just like have another episode where we just talk about like nutrition overall.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be a super beneficial episode. It would probably be in my new place though. So
perfect.
We'll kind of see how that goes.
Sounds good to me, man. Well, thanks for having me. This was awesome. Good experience, and you're killing it. This is awesome.
All right. Thanks, man.
I gotcha.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Yeah. Have a good one.